Hello, and welcome back to the Coupe de Villa channel. I'm Scott Cooper, and today I'm going to be talking about Jack Grealish and the recent controversy with his interview with Gabriel Clark for England and the subsequent article in the Birmingham Mail by Ashley Priest. So, if you want to know how I feel about that, it's coming up now. So, first of all, I want to break this into two separate groups. First of all, you've got the disappointment by our fans for Grealish leaving, and then you've got the question or the assumption that he's being disrespectful since he left and talking down and shitting on the players in the club and Dean Smith, right? So the first one, I understand people's anger, and I want to say I agree with it. I was disappointed too, but we're going to put that one aside, and I'm going to adjust. I'm going to talk about the other one, which is the recent interview and Ashley Priest in the Birmingham Mail and his piece. So, was it disrespectful? Well, the first time I watched it, I hadn't seen any of the Twitter uproar or the social media stuff, and I've got to say, I didn't see anything. I didn't feel offended. I didn't feel like he was talking down to me or the club or the fan base. So my first reaction was no, it wasn't. It wasn't. Then, then comes the article, and Priest, I think, knew what he was doing. Obviously, he knew we had a bit of a fractured, hurt, angry fan base about Jack leaving, and he wanted to stoke that fire. And I think that this was classic clickbait type journalism, and out of the whole saga, I'm more disappointed with him than anyone. Because if you actually go to the article itself, and I've got it here, there are a few bits that are questionable, to say the least. The first one, he talks about there was a real smugness and arrogance to Jack Grealish that was quite distasteful as he sat in the sports hall at St George's Park and he spoke to ITV's Gabriel Clark ahead of England's 4-0 win in Hungary, right? The former Aston Villa captain, no longer this innocent yet totally engaged football Villa fans idolise. In fact, the 25-year-old is quite frankly unrecognisable as he delivers some painful and, to some extent, insulting words about his boyhood club. Now, okay, what extent? Was it insulting? Was it not insulting? To some extent. So I don't, first of all, that, that kind of language, sets off alarm bells for me. Right? Then he goes on to talk about probably the biggest part of the article, and the part where most Villa fans feel like Grealish was talking down to us. Here we go. Grealish may as well have tweeted out "My city, my club, my release clause" just 12 months ago when he signed his 5-year deal and became Villa's highest paid player in the club's history. He also believed in Villa's project, or so he said before moving 11 months later. Now, I agree with the last line there. He shouldn't have said he believed in the project if he didn't believe in the project and he didn't want to stick with the project, right? That was poor from Grealish, that line particularly, and the fact that he knew with the release clause that it was likely going to be a project that he was going to leave. Okay, but the first bit, Grealish may as well have tweeted out. Grealish may as well have tweeted out. Again, come on. You can't. You're putting words in his mouth. it's a assumption at best. It's a, reading between the lines at best. I mean, you're not exactly, taking his words and giving them, shining them in the best light possible. You're doing actually the opposite. And I think, I understand he's a Villa fan, Ashley Priest. I understand he writes for the Birmingham Mail. There's a lot about Villa, and that's his niche, and he's going to try and hit it. And he found that we were at a pressure point, and he took advantage, right? I understand that, but do I like it? Do I think it's right? Do I think it's, honest behaviour? No, I didn't like it at all. When I read the piece, I was thinking that's not what he said. That's you're saying that. So yes, it's an opinion piece, but come on, man. If we're going to be angry at Jack for that, then we need to really, have a good look at ourselves as a fan base, because he didn't say anything. He spoke about Man City, their great players, and how he was 100% better player, right? Now, if you wanted to, you could say, and a lot of you have, that's talking down to our players and Dean Smith and the role that they played in his development. Sure. And I agree with that to a certain extent. I think that he could have been maybe a bit nicer to us. Maybe mention Dean Smith, who he actually does later in the interview, but that's not brought up, about how he on the whiteboard he had, 9 games, 0 goals, 1 assist. Well, that's speaking nicely about Dean Smith and how he motivated him, isn't it? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But basically, should his comments, take them as you will, should they disqualify him for everything else he did before and erase him, cancel him from our club? There's people saying, I don't want him back, if he comes back in 4 or 5 years. He's dead to me, this kind of stuff. And I just think that's ridiculous. I can't get behind that at all. I really can't. I mean, yes, I'm disappointed at him. Yes, I don't really care about him anymore because he plays for City. I get all that. But I don't understand. I can't get behind the online hatred. I really can't, because he did so many good things for us. He played with his heart on his sleeve. He is a confident, cocky, arrogant guy. Love him or hate him. We loved him when he was doing it for us, and now he's all of a sudden he's too big for his boots. Well, he was always like that. So you can't have your cake and eat it too. And I also think that, what do we actually gain from being toxic to him? What's the end game here? Because to me, it's just a young guy like Cameron Archer, for example, grew up, went through the academy, Villa fan. He's going to be seeing this and going, "Gee, I don't want to leave ever, because I might get this kind of treatment from the fans. This doesn't send out a great message. I think as a fan base, we are very classy, and we are a really good bunch. But on this particular occasion, we have been tested. And so far, some of us, I don't know, I think we're letting ourselves down. And, half of you are going to hate me for this video. I understand that. But I felt like I just had to say it. I mean, I think the lack of ex-players coming out and neutral pundits saying that this was a disrespectful interview by Grealish, that speaks volumes as well. I mean, yes, I do know that Gary Thompson said something, so I'm sure you'll get on to me about that. But I don't see Ian Taylor, Lee Hendry, Brian Little, John Gregory, Tony Daly, these kind of guys that are sort of ambassadors for the club, coming out and smashing him. You know, the guys that work in the media, Agboglahor and, you know, all these guys, they're not smashing him, saying he was disrespectful to the club. Dean Smith isn't. So I think we need to sort of take a step back, just say to ourselves, right, he's playing for Man City now. He's a footballer. They're asking him, are you better than you were? You know, are you a better player? What's he going to say? No. Nah, I preferred it when I was at Villa. You know, he can't say that. So it is really one of these things that, you know, it's never good to see your ex doing well. You know, I understand that. But I think we need to take a deep breath and say to ourselves, Jack Grealish is a footballer first. And second, he's an Aston Villa fan. And he made a footballing decision, and he is interviewing as a Man City footballer, not an Aston Villa fan. And I just don't want to see all these great memories of his thrown away because, you know, we can't handle it or we don't like it. Now, you're free to feel whatever you want, and I'm sure you will, and I'm sure you'll let me know in the comments. Please like and subscribe. I'm sure some of you will have plenty to say. But that's my position. Jack Grealish, to me, still a Villa legend. Still a good guy. Still a great footballer that I like watching. Unfortunately now, he plays for Man City. But I don't see him as a disrespectful person towards Villa. I just don't see it. But let me know. Let me know in the comments. And please like and subscribe. And let's take a deep breath and look forward to Chelsea next week. Up the Villa. See you later. Take it easy.